And we are live.
What's up?
Facebook ads and Google PPC, how to generate leads with our good friends Avi Rasowsky from Charlotte, North Carolina. Yoav, what's going on? Avi, welcome to the show. We're very excited to have you.
Thank you. Manishma.
I'm having you.
Everything is great. Avi and I know what for a few years now. He caught my eyes because he was the type of investors that I saw that it's very sophisticated, think outside the box, and kind of everybody was zigging and he was zagging. And this is a few years ago that kind of I started to follow him, and we just developed friendships, and he's a great guy. So Avi, tell us a little bit about what you do. Where do you live? People will probably in Israel be asking, is he Israeli? What is this name? Avi
sure.
is one of us, a member of the tribe. So tell us a little bit about you.
Yes, a member of the tribe. I actually used to live, when I was very young, I lived in Israel on Kibbutz Yotzah, almost at Eilat. It's the stop that everybody goes to get chocolate milk at. And I lived there up until I was about 3. And then I grew up in Albany, New York, and then moved all over the country, but my wife and I and our 3 kids live in Matthews, North Carolina now. We've been here for about 2 years. And we're just outside of Charlotte. So Charlotte is the bigger city with about 1 million people near where I live. And and I invest full time, just building a portfolio of properties. I used to wholesale everything. So I'd love to help with whatever I can.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
So let's talk again. Primarily you used to do a lot of virtual wholesaling. I know that kind of your strategy, what kind of attracted me to you, because we teach kind of focus on one market, and you were just throwing a very big white net.
Yes.
I think it was nationwide. You were kind of collecting leads all over the place, and you did like 10, 15 states. So tell us a little bit about the process, why were you doing it, and what's your thought process today, and if you're doing because of the marketing strategy that you use, or just because you like to do deals all over the place?
It was primarily the marketing strategy. So I'll tell you, I'll back. It's exactly right what you're saying. It was about ended up being about 12 or 13 different states where I actually did transactions in. But the reason I did that was about 7 years ago, I started my business, not a real estate business, it was a lead generation business. So I was generating calls and forms and leads from Google for other business owners, roofing contractors, carpet cleaners, anything you can think of, dozens of different types of businesses. I was getting websites up, ranking them, and then getting phone calls for them. Part of Google marketing also includes obviously PPC marketing, which is pay-per-click marketing. And as I started to learn more about that, I worked with some real estate investors. And during that time, I learned what wholesaling was. The problem with there's two main problems with Google marketing for real estate investors. To get motivated sellers, number one, it can be very expensive, and number two, it's potentially very slow. You have to wait, depending on the budget, you have to wait days, if not weeks, to get your next lead. So I tried to kind of combat that issue, and I actually did it accidentally. What happened was I was working with somebody on a campaign, and I think we were targeting Pennsylvania or somewhere in that area in the Northeast to get leads. And I knew approximately how many clicks we should be getting. And just for anybody that doesn't know, on Google, you're targeting keywords. So if somebody says, I want to sell my house fast in the Google search bar, or who will buy my house for cash, that's basically the type of lead we're getting. And it's a very, very hot lead. It's somebody that's ready now. And so long story short, I built this campaign. I was ready to kind of see how many, I thought, oh, maybe we'll get 2 or 3 clicks. And I looked a couple hours after we went live, and it had gotten, I don't know, dozens of clicks. I was like, holy crap, like this was a big mistake because I forgot to set the target to Pennsylvania. I set it to, I just left it at the whole United States. So I said to myself, okay, that's interesting though. It was a mistake, but let's see what we can do. Let's lower our bids instead of paying, I don't know, $15, $23 a click. Let's see what we get if we do like $1 or $2 per click. We were getting clicks, and I was like, this is unbelievable. I don't care necessarily where the seller is. I just want them to be motivated. If there's a good deal and there's a ton of equity there, let's see if we can make a deal happen. And actually that was my first deal ever. It was a random little town in Breckenridge, Texas, which is like in the middle of nowhere. And I had no idea what I was doing. I got the deal under contract, and I think it was like 6 or 7 weeks later that a buyer came in and paid for it. But that was why I started doing virtual. I said, okay, let me just try to get cheap leads wherever they come in. And then over the course of the last 3 years, that's really shifted. I'm doing everything within about an hour radius of my backyard. So we're doing North and South Carolina, about 12 counties or so. I'll go to other counties outside that if it's good enough. I try to keep everything close enough where I can drive and see the property myself, which may or may not be the right strategy, but that's what I'm doing now.
Got it.
Beautiful.
Awesome. So let's talk kind of big picture now, and then we're going to start to zoom in to maybe give a few more actionable tips. So in very generic terms, can you explain what's the big differences that you see today between PPC campaigns and Facebook ads campaign? Again, in case somebody is on the fence where to go to pick one or another, if you can explain what's the big differences and what do you think it's easier, quote unquote, to start with?
Facebook definitely easier to start. It's cheaper. The problem is it's disruptive marketing. So you're interrupting someone's newsfeed with something they didn't ask for, right? So if you have a picture of a house, you say, we buy houses for cash. You're interrupting their day. It's better than a cold call. It's better than a cold text, but it's still not something that they really like. Google, you're going and you are intentionally going to search for a solution. Like I need money for an attorney for child support tomorrow. Not me, but like a seller may need something, money for something. So, so there's pros and cons, right? Facebook is definitely easier. The lead quality is not quite as good, but you can definitely, I had my reservations about Facebook over the last year. I tested it about 4 different times. And the first 3 tests were total failures. I tested it and I was like, God, I'm not getting anything. And I just wasn't patient enough. I didn't work enough leads because I was used to Google, 15, 20, 25 leads maybe to get a deal. Facebook, you really have to get, it depends on your campaign, but you have to get, 40, 50, 60 leads maybe. And then once I finally started to get it, that the time frame is just a little bit longer. A Google seller might have, you can close a deal in a week, 2 weeks, a month. A Facebook deal might take you 2 to 3 months to really work that seller. And we just bought a property last month in April of 2021, and I started talking to the seller from Facebook in like November. So you just have to kind of be a little bit more patient with Facebook, but it is definitely easier. There's less black holes to lose your campaign budget in Facebook. You kind of know what's happening. You can set it very clearly. With Google, it can be a lot more dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
Also financially, right? I mean, Facebook potentially should be more economic. It should be cheaper. Again, the conversion rate, you understand, is lower than comparing to Google PPC. But if somebody wants to start with a more limited budget, would you recommend Facebook more, heading that direction?
Yeah, I think it's hard for me to say that because I didn't start with Facebook, so it's hard for me to give advice that I didn't do myself. But I do think it will allow you to talk to more sellers more often. That is for sure, and it's inbound, right? It really is somebody coming to you, which is light years more powerful than you going to somebody else. In my experience, I'm not a strong outbound guy. Like I don't do a lot of calling and texting, unless I know exactly who I'm calling about what specific deal, like a very targeted approach. But yeah, Facebook I think is if I was going to pick one thing to just get people talking to sellers that really are interested in talking to you, Facebook is a good, quick way to do that.
You've got it. And I don't know, I read and learned that most of the people who are successful with Facebook campaigns are targeted at very broad areas, even like the entire state. What's been your experience, going very niche on one market or metro area versus opening up the gates and kind of targeting a very big area?
Okay, so the area that I'm focused on for Facebook right now is really just within the hour of where I live. I'm actually thinking about condensing it even more. Just like I don't want to drive 2 hours for every deal, right? I'd rather drive 30 minutes. But obviously I'm a proponent of, if you're going to open up the floodgates to wider areas, that's what I did, right? I did that for Google back in the day. So it's a phenomenal way to get repetitions. And like the most valuable thing about my first several deals virtually wasn't the money. It was the learning what a deal is and what a deal isn't. So I think, yeah, if you can open up the gates and just have conversations with sellers and learn how to say no to the marginal deals and say, yes to the slam dunk deals. And I don't know how much of this will translate into Hebrew or not, but I think you know what I'm saying.
Got it. Okay. So this day again, how many leads do you usually need to close the deal with Facebook, and you're kind of doing it in a targeted area, not in a very broad area. You mentioned 50, 60 leads to close the deal?
Yeah, I would say, here, hold on, I'll tell you right now. It's about, let me just look at my last. For Facebook, it's about, one second.
He's a good sign that he's a good investor. He knows his number. So he's looking at his KPI, I can guess, and he can tell you exactly how much it costs, how many leads, and I can tell that this is, again, a good habit to track your numbers.
Okay, I'm just pulling it up. One second.
I hope I'm right, Avi.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. Okay.
Okay, so
yeah,
we have
about 40, roughly 40 leads. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Roughly 40, yeah, and when I first started it, I didn't know how to work it enough, and I didn't give it time. So I was like, oh my God, I'm at 60, 70, 80 leads. And but what I didn't realize, I had 2 deals in there, right? I had 1 deal, 2 deals that were going to be coming. I just was in the middle of negotiating. So it was hard to know what I didn't know yet when I first started Facebook leads. But I'd say somewhere between 40 and 50 leads. If I don't have, a really solid deal in that batch, I'm doing something wrong. And then Google is much less. Google is about 15 to 20 leads is usually the average.
Avi, what is the average? And again, I know it probably changed from market to market, but what is the average cost per lead that you're currently seeing?
For Facebook, it's like anywhere between 45 to 50, 47, $48. I know some people, and I don't know how they're doing it, but they're getting unbelievably low, like
25,
5, 10, $20 per lead. And I think maybe what a lot of these people are doing is what Chaim was saying, is going statewide or multiple states, because the more geography you cover, or like the less picky you are, the cheaper it is. That's what I'm seeing for Facebook. And then Google is like, it really depends on the market. Like you could go to the middle of, just rural areas and get really cheap leads, but a good solid metropolitan area might be $200, $150, $250. I know people in very, very competitive markets, like the more educated the population, the more expensive it is. So Washington, D.C., Denver, Seattle, those are going to be $500, $600, $700 per lead. It's just crazy competition, but the deals are potentially much bigger too.
Got it. So pretty much a benchmark for it will be around $2,000, $2,500 per deal, somewhere in that range, right? I mean, that's the numbers I'm getting.
Correct, because so I look at, okay, how much am I willing to pay to get my average deal, and my average deal right now is it's equity plus cash in hand, and cash flow. So I'm looking at, okay, I'm willing to pay, X number of, it's almost like a joint venture partner. You say, okay, I'm willing to pay somebody $3,000 to find a seller. That person just happens to be Google.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's not a bad cost at all.
Right.
Got it. So the cost. So how do you compare? I don't know. Maybe you covered it. The cost in Google for Google leads versus Facebook ad lead in the same area. What's the big difference in cost that you see in your market?
So Facebook is about 25% as much. So it's like $40 to $50 for Facebook, and then $200 for Google. So you're getting 1 lead for every 4 Facebook leads. That's
got it.
What I'm seeing typically right now.
And with a higher, I'm guessing with a much higher conversion rate, right? I mean, that's why you should probably make sense still using Google, right?
Yeah, exactly. Google is if I look at my portfolio of properties, the best deals came from Google.
Okay.
Can you share also, I mean, if we're talking about benchmarks and just KPIs, I mean, you see around 40 to 50 leads in Facebook per deal. Comparing to PPC Google, what is that? Just your benchmark pretty much there per deal? Just lead
15 leads is good. Sometimes 20. Sometimes I have a bad month or two and it's 25. I mean, but 15 leads per deal is very, very healthy.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for those numbers. I think those benchmarks give a lot of people's much better understanding and
sure
what's going on. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, again, I don't know if you heard Avi on the phone. Avi is a great negotiator. His sales skill is amazing. So maybe you're thinking about his marketing, but in this business, it's go hand in hand. You generate the leads, but you need to know what to do once the phone is ringing, right, Avi? Can you speak about this? Because a lot of people
100%. So thank you, first of all. If I look back and say, okay, where was the money made on every deal? Pretty much every deal, it was usually about 15 seconds in a conversation. And maybe that 15 seconds was when I said, I'm just not a buyer for this, or I can't come close to your number. And I'm not lowballing people. I'm literally just starting with, why do you need to sell it, right? What is the reason that you need cash for this? And I'm trying to tell them, like, if you want top dollar, here's how you go get it. It's not for me. It's from a realtor, or it's listing it, or doing something else. But the negotiation and learning how to work the deals is way, way, way more valuable than learning how to generate them. When you're direct to seller, you can't, obviously if you're going to buy from a wholesaler, you can't really, there's only a certain amount you can negotiate. But yeah, when you're direct to seller, it is you'll be amazed if somebody really needs to get rid of a property, and that's who you should be dealing with, just people who need to get rid of it and want to emotionally detach. It is amazing how far down people will come when they just want it gone. You have to remember, it's not just, they want a certain amount of money. These properties, a vacant property costs somebody money, so you're saving them from more money that's bleeding away from them. And if you can learn to negotiate and improve that one skill set, that is the most valuable thing in investing of anything. Because if you can buy right at the right numbers, you can make anything work. You can have any exit that you want.
Awesome. That's a great tip. And actually, again, Yoav and I thinking about just putting together like a daily session about teaching people how to handle a phone call, because generating the leads is one thing, but converting the lead to a deal, that's, I think, the $1 million skill, right?
Yes, for sure. It's where deals are made. If you can paper it up at the right number and get a contract, then you can basically write your own ticket to whatever you want to do. If you want to wholesale, you want to rent, you want to flip, you want to owner finance, whatever your exit strategy is, it all starts with the same thing. You have to negotiate the best deal possible.
Awesome. So we have a few questions coming in. Again, we have Yoav Kirschenbaum. You probably know. Say hi.
Yeah, hey, Yoav. Hey, what's up, man?
So we have questions.
Talk about a good negotiator.
Yeah.
Good
Yoav
negotiator.
is good.
Yeah.
Yoav is a good negotiator. I agree. So do you usually, when you do the Facebook ads, do you keep the form on the Facebook platform, or do you sending them outside to an outside link? What's your experience with that?
Ever since they introduced Facebook lead forms, probably I think 6 or 7 years ago, 5 years ago maybe, it seems to be really, really pretty good now. The quality used to be terrible. It used to be where everybody was an accidental lead, but right now lead forms, I get a very, very high response rate from lead forms. When somebody puts in their, I ask them, do you want to sell? Do you have a property to sell? Yes or no? What's the address? What's the zip code? And then name, phone number, email. And almost everybody responds. I want to say 80% probably response rate. But yeah, lead form is good. I've tested other things like engagement to see if people will just, comment, yes, I need to sell, or message me. But none of them are nearly as effective as lead forms.
Awesome. Got it. And another question, it says, what's your daily budget and whether it's scalable or not? Again, is this a linear? If you throw more money, you're going to get the same amount of leads, or have you tested kind of where it's not
I've tested
going?
Anywhere from 50 to 250 per day, and it's usually I mean, you're going to get a little bit more expensive per lead when you go higher, but I've never gone to like anything crazy higher than that. So yeah, anywhere from 50 per day to 250 per day.
Okay. And that's kind of the sweet spot you feel. So if you were throwing like $1,000, it's not going to generate.
It probably still will. It probably still will. I'm a one-man operation right now, so I don't have the ability to handle that many leads. And I know how much like you have to obviously take the time to really qualify each lead. And if I'm getting too many leads, I don't want to. It would be a waste of money right now.
Awesome. I have another question, because now again you mentioned that when you're in Texas, you're primarily doing and like targeting a very broad area. Your focus was more on wholesaling, and now your main goal is on kind of adding properties to your portfolio for cash flow and equity.
Yes.
Do you do anything differently to target these types of leads, or you just looking for
same exact marketing? And it's funny, I see a lot of people like, oh, we're going to target creative finance sellers or subject to. It's all the same thing. I mean, I still want a great deal with a significant equity spread, but no, I just make more when I own or finance. So the only reason I'm not wholesaling is because the same leads, I can maximize my profit on each deal if I'm selling with owner financing.
Gotcha. We have Gal asking, how soon do you contact those leads? I mean, again, is there a different behavior with Facebook or Google, or it's the same thing immediately?
Immediately, I actually have data that shows if you have to get back to an internet lead within less than 5 minutes, otherwise they completely forget about you. There was a study, this is now like several years ago, but there was a study that the Harvard Business Review did with a company called InsideSales.com, and this was not real estate specifically, but they did data from 3 consecutive years from inbound leads across multiple industries, and they said, what are the chances of the person, whether you're the business owner or a sales representative, what are the chances of you having a conversation with that inbound lead based on how long it took you to respond to them? And the chances within 5 minutes were very high. When you wait longer than 5 minutes, it drops off of a cliff, and it's almost like they don't even remember that they submitted the form. So that's a critical point. Yeah, if you're waiting, I had a deal, well, not a deal for me, but I had a lead that came in, and I remember taking a screenshot of it. 14 hours later, I was just catching up on leads, and I contacted them 14 hours after they submitted, which is less than a day. And they said, sorry, we already contracted with somebody else. So even 20 minutes is too long. So it can be stressful, but you have to get back to them right away. So just make sure if you are generating inbound leads, it's very, very time sensitive.
And how do you manage? I think that, it's connecting to another question. I mean, how do you manage those? How do you know? I mean, do you run notifications, or there's any specific, you get, when a new lead comes in, what happens? How do you make sure you respond?
I get an email and a text message, and just notification on my iPhone that says new web form with phone number, email, and usually the address. The address is in the email, but I can pull it up. And then I used to call everybody right away. Now I text everybody right away, and I just say very simply, "Hi, John. My name is Avi. Just got your information about possibly selling a property. Is that right?" I want an immediate yes or no response. If they don't respond to that, I'll call them. But then they respond. I can go through the sequence, but basically, I don't spend time on the phone with anybody unless I know that there's a potential of a deal here. And I probably am too selective, but I want to know, okay, what's your time frame? And if they say right now or yesterday or ASAP, great. I continue to pursue it. If they say, spring of 2022, I don't even call them. I'm sorry. I'm not going to spend my time. Bless you. Then I want to know if the property empty or occupied, because if it's occupied, there's a whole host of challenges. I want empty properties only right now. I will deal with occupied, but it's just a very long process. And then I want to know, is there a loan in place or not? So I'm actually trying to not spend time with the lead until I find out that they're really, really ready to get rid of it right now.
So this is all via text, all this qualification process via text?
Yes.
So when you decide to get on the phone, and
I will call them if they don't answer me on a text. Usually, almost everybody, if they're going to answer, they answer within a couple minutes, right? They see the text.
And that can be automatic, right? I mean, the text can go. I'm guessing you do it automatically, or you right?
I don't. You can, yeah. You can definitely trigger it with automation, like through Zapier and other technology like that. I don't do it automatically because I want to have a live response.
You want to be hands-on, right?
Yeah, I want to be hands-on. There's other factors too, like I want it to come from the same phone number, and I don't want it to be. It's just if I have one stream of conversation on a text, I want it to stay consistent because you guys know that seller and you are going to be locked at the hip for several days straight. But you can automate it, yes.
Awesome. What else? I think, again, just going back to the timing, the importance of getting back to the leads as soon as possible. And our audience being in Israel with a time zone difference, how quickly, once you turn on the campaign, you start to see traction and leads? Because I'm just trying to think about if somebody's running campaign for days and they're getting it when they are, when they're going to sleep, they wake up, it's 7 hours or 8 hours later, and then somebody got their deal, Avi got their leads and got it on the contract when they start just trying to wake up in Israel.
Don't go to sleep.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. No, I've gotten deals at like 11 o'clock at night or crazy times. And usually, something going on, right? They're up at night and they're like, oh, I need cash for something, or I'm in foreclosure, or whatever the issue is. So but you can also set your parameters where you're only getting leads at certain times. So tell me your question again. Like, how do you deal with that?
No, can you time the campaign, like to run the campaign between a certain hours?
Yes.
So just when you're kind of in front of the computer and
Google, you can for sure. I actually don't know with Facebook. I'm sure you can. I have it 24/7, so I'm not sure. But I know Google, you can set it, like from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 5 to 5 or whatever you want to do. You can set it parameters because I've had several sellers that they work like factory jobs or some kind of blue collar labor, and they work third shift. So they're getting off early in the morning, and then they're spending that 4. I can only catch them before they go to bed, like from 7 to 8 or whatever it is.
Awesome.
But you can set parameters.
Avi, working with a lot of investors, and again, I'm sure people who are in the beginning of the road, right? And they want to give it a shot and give it a try. And from your end, I mean, as a professional and doing it, what is the most common errors you see when you see, beginners launching their campaigns? What should, people who are new to this should completely avoid? Some pointers. I know it's a very big picture, but like some pointers that it's a big no-nos.
Good question. Specifically with inbound or just new people to investing?
Yeah, I mean, if I want to launch now a Facebook campaign, right, and I want to target, let's say not nationwide, but my area, I mean, is there any specific things you tell me, listen, don't do this, right? Or any things we should look out to when doing those campaigns?
Yeah, I don't know. So I see a lot of people try to turn something into a deal when it's just not a deal. So I guess what I'm saying is don't try to make it a deal. And it's hard to know when you're just starting out. Like, I would say, don't just drive to every property of every lead, right? It's exciting when you first have it, but once you know, okay, what a deal feels like, what the number, what numbers are interesting, depending on what market you're in. Obviously, it's going to vary. Then try to find reasons to say no to the seller. What I see a lot of times is people who are just starting out with investing want to get a contract. They want to get a contract because they could think it's money, but then it puts you in a bad position because then you price it too high. You can't sell the deal if you're trying to wholesale it, and then the seller gets mad at you. So, as hard as it is, you have to be patient and try to find reasons not to buy the property. And I don't know if that helps or not, but I know that if you find ways to kind of push the seller away, and it's a negotiation tool too, if you're pushing them away and make them try to make you want to buy it, then you have a lot more leverage. Instead of like when I remember my first deal, before I got my first deal inked, I was trying to contract with everybody, and I was just like, what was I doing? I had no idea what the numbers were supposed to be. I thought a little bit below retail price was good, but don't drive around to every single property. Have a phone conversation first, and understand that
we're in Israel. We're not gonna fly, so we're in Israel. So you're probably
there
not
you
gonna
go.
fly.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so virtually you don't have to do that. But do not. The discount has to be tremendous. My average equity position is about 58 cents on the dollar. So I'm not really interested in anything at 70 cents on the dollar or 80 cents on the dollar. Certainly not 90 cents on the dollar. But if somebody says they want to sell me a half price house, I'm all over it.
That's amazing, because in this market it's so competitive that people keep telling us, listen, there is no way you can find deals at 70% on the dollar. And you, again, with the way that you qualify leads, you basically don't even take a 70% on the dollar deals. Basically, that's what I'm hearing.
I have. I'm not going to say no to something that I know I can make money on. So if I can buy it subject to, and then sell it with owner fine, I know that's different than wholesaling, but I will find a way if I can make money with it. And I have I have properties that are, I'll say 70% of my portfolio, but it just averages out to 58 cents on the dollar.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm doing it up. Yeah, I try to find every reason to say no. And look, we're not dealing, everyone says, yes, it's crazy in the retail market, which is true, but we're not dealing with retail. We're dealing with people who have massive problems in their life and need to get rid of a property.
Got it. We have two questions about the how you set up your campaigns as far as audience parameters and interests. Do you have any tips for people who are targeting an area? What type of audiences do you define?
Yeah, I have. So right now, everything on Facebook is just the whole population, right? Like I used to try to do interest level and all that. I don't. The picture and the words are going to call out your audience. So, someone who's interested in selling an old house that's empty is going to see my picture of an old empty house, and if they need cash, they're going to respond to it. There's also in the housing category on Facebook, you can't really there's a lot of limitations. You can't. I wish I could do sellers over 50 years old or something like that. They don't want us to do that, unfortunately. With Google, the targeting is not so much audience based. It's keyword specific. So you have to say, okay, what is somebody typing in, and that's how you attract your lead on that platform.
Do you find a geography there? No? Do you find the geography?
And geography. I'm sorry, and geography. So yeah, you're saying geography and keyword based. Both of them have geography, of course.
Got it.
So you basically the entire area, no interest, just Charlotte metro area. You just define a radius, and that's it.
Plus 50 miles around.
Awesome. All right, that's easy enough.
Yeah. Avi, can you share us maybe one or two sample ads that you find that works for you, that you see successful? I mean, that will be awesome. And what audience? I think you just spoke about it. Just with those ads, just confirming which audience you're targeting.
Yeah, I actually think I posted one. Hold on, let me put it on.
I think if you go to Roy Benchlo.
Say again.
We have somebody in the group post a questions, and you responded to him, and you put a picture of your ad, so you can go back and look for it. It's there.
And I'll put a few more. I've tried several kinds, but usually, just generally speaking, it's an old, it looks like an investment property, right? One I have is a mobile home. I've done ones where they're just old vacant houses that need a lot of repair work. The roof has got a hole in it, or something that looks like it's not a retail house. And then I have big bright letters that say, "We pay cash for houses in the Carolinas." There's something location specific. And then I think the headline that I've been using lately is, "Get a legitimate cash offer on your house." And the reason I do that is a lot of the Facebook sellers, they've already contacted a wholesaler that can't close. and I tell them I can actually close. And so if you have a buyer, for example, if you're wholesaling a deal and you can close, I say get a legitimate cash offer. And the text is very short. It's like, can we give you a legitimate cash offer to buy your house quickly? Nothing crazy. I actually have a friend of mine in Charlotte. He'd never wholesaled a deal before. And I said, oh, how did you get this lead? Because he just closed a deal like a few months ago, his first deal. And I said, how did you get the lead? And he said, oh, I just took a picture of my bandit sign. Like he had a bandit sign that had his phone number. It says, we buy houses. He took a picture of it, put it up and boosted the post and got a deal. And so it's like, it's as simple as that. I'm willing to try anything that somebody's going to respond to, because you think about it, if you can put a bandit sign on the side of the road, you're catching everybody that's driving by. But if you can put it on Facebook, you get everybody in the whole market. So it's just like a bandit sign.
Gotcha. We have another question from Eyal. Can you upload a list which you got from a list provider and upload it to Facebook and target them?
You can. I personally have never done that. I should try it, but I know some people that have done that. Where they'll say, here's a list of all the absentee owners, and then you can build a custom audience. It's a really good idea. I haven't done it, but I should try it for sure, because you can do that.
And another question, again, I know in our business we always say the money is in the photo op, and in Facebook a lot of people saying the money is in retargeting. How much of retargeting do you do, if any, and if that's true that most of your deals coming from retargeting and not from the initial ad?
For me, unfortunately, I'm not as organized as I should be. I have not done a lot of retargeting. Most of my deals come from first time we're talking. Retargeting is a phenomenal way. I know, and I've seen people do a great job with retargeting. I need to do a better job with that. I don't even think I have one running right now, but I should, now that you reminded me.
Got it.
Yeah, but to your point about the fortunes and the follow-up, just don't let a lead. I need to know, am I buying this house or not? And if I don't have an answer to that question, I'm always going to keep trying. So I have an age lead list that, from weeks and months ago that I'm always circling back every week or two. And I'm just saying, hey, just following up. Did you sell your house already? And a lot of them I haven't ever spoken to. And I've definitely gotten good deals from that. But there are some people that are, that are amazing at follow-up and have a really, really streamlined process. I just haven't built that out. And one thing I need to improve upon.
Awesome. Quick question for back in the day. Again, we have Rory asking a question. When you are wholesaling nationwide, as far as dispositioning the deals and selling your deals, were you JVing with local wholesalers, or were you just trying to build and find buyers every time you're getting into a new market? Because I can see how big of a challenge can be.
Yeah, I did both. So I paid a lot of joint venture fees to wholesalers, or anybody that could find buyers for me in markets that I didn't know. And I was also just everywhere. There's 1,000 ways to find buyers. If your deal is good, somebody's going to buy it, and that's usually the biggest problem. If you don't have a good deal, there's usually, depending on the location, there's usually a Facebook group of investors in every market, every major market at least. In some of the rural areas that I've gotten deals with, it's you got to find somebody that wants to live in the property. You can always get more from somebody who wants to live in the property than you can from an investor. You just have to be careful. It's harder to wholesale that, because a lot of times you just have to buy it and then go resell it later. And that was actually how I first got my first private lenders in place. Was just, I would say, hey, look, I got good deals. I just don't have the money to buy them. That was kind of a evolution of just buying properties and then selling them and then shifting to more local.
Yeah, in the past we did. We ran a pilot nationwide as well. Again, getting leads from Facebook and yeah. That was the issue. We find a lot of, and I think this connects a lot to what you said. It's very important to chase after the deals and not just every lead trying to get a deal out of it. Because what we found eventually is in exactly those rural areas, right? Like God knows where, leads, and even if it's for cheap, what actually happens is that it became a logistical nightmare, right? I mean, instead of working on deals, you're starting working on logistics, like who's going to buy it, getting into Facebook group, finding the buyers, finding the wholesalers, and the focus went completely on finding deals to trying to, again, working on not real deals, right? And this is where people should be, I guess, be careful and focus on the real deals, and also on areas that right? I mean, I think that's very important working nationwide, right? I mean, there should be some criteria or specifications where you want to focus, right? I mean, if it's, population with a small town of, 1,000 people, 500 people, 700 people,
it becomes very hard. Nobody has money. Yeah, there's just nobody has money in that town, and unfortunately I've dealt with that. Yeah, I've sat on properties for months and months where, one in Kansas, we lost like $12,000 on over the year and a half that it was just sitting vacant, paying on a subject to mortgage. And so, you have to be careful. Just know that there are houses all over the country that are $4,000 that I wouldn't touch. So just the price does not matter. Look at the value compared to other value in that area.
Yeah. And have you done Facebook campaigns, like a Facebook ads campaign to find buyers?
Yes.
Or you primarily, have you done it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. First of all, marketplace is unbelievable. Be careful if you don't have the ownership, you don't have the deed yet, and you don't own the property. You have to obviously make sure the seller is okay with you putting it on marketplace. But marketplace can be an amazing way, especially to sell properties with owner financing. That's my number one way to find buyers for owner finance properties. But I've done targeted Facebook posts to find buyers, because you can basically just, just like a bandit sign, you can just put the deal up. And I've done it several ways, either an engagement post where they comment, or, put my phone number up there, or a lead form. But you can definitely find buyers from that too. I just find that marketplace and then investor groups, like Facebook closed groups on Facebook, tend to be a little bit faster to find investors, or a really active wholesaler in that market already. Somebody, like, there's people in Charlotte, for example, that have thousands and thousands of buyers on a list. They send an email out and boom, there's 10 people at the property that day. So, and obviously Charlotte is a very, very active market. Whatever market you're targeting, just make sure you get to know that area and who the stakeholders are.
Awesome. That's amazing, man. That's a lot of value. So, Avi, how can people just find out more about you, reach out to you? Do you offer any training or anything like that? I know that you had
I used to. I have a group. I'll help whoever needs help, but no, I don't charge for training. If anybody needs help, just feel free to message me on Facebook, or Chaim, you have my number. I'm glad to take a call from anybody. I'm glad to help. I share some of my deals on Facebook. Chaim, I think you're in that group, and I just try to like showcase the reality of the business. It's not easy. It takes a lot of hard work. You have to be, focused on every detail, right? My rule is, for every deal, something will definitely go wrong. I just don't know when it's going to happen. So you just have to be ready for that. And it's like, if I'm working on a deal and something hasn't gone wrong yet, I'm like, uh-oh, it's coming. So just be aware that, things can go wrong, but you have to kind of stick through it. And most people won't do it. So those who will can profit from it. I'm glad to help anybody. Just message me on Facebook, or connect with me in any way. I'm glad to give my cell phone number. I don't know if anybody wants that, but I can leave it here.
Be careful what you wish for, Avi. Be careful what you wish for. But if you want, please do. We Israelis, we're gonna come after you. But thank you very much. Avi is a very genuine guy, and he really real and genuine. And he can. I don't know if you still have your recorded calls with sellers on your.
I have a lot of them. Yeah, I have a lot of them recorded. I haven't recorded a lot of them lately, just because I used to do that. So I was when I shifted from lead generation to kind of doing my own deals. I was training, right? I was training some people on how to do it, and so I was recording calls for that. But I can share whatever you want. Yeah, it's the calls are interesting. I mean, you deal with really interesting sellers. So
yeah, I agree. So the best way is to reach out to you via Facebook. Are you mostly active on Facebook, or there's any other platform?
just mostly Facebook. I don't really do anything on any other platform. Although I go on Clubhouse a lot now. I don't know if anybody's on Clubhouse. I just listen there's a bunch of interesting rooms on Clubhouse. But I'm not scared. I'll give my number away. But if anybody wants to call me, I'll say it twice. My cell phone is 832-928-7525. Again, 832-928-7525. And if I don't have your number saved, if I miss you, just text me so I know who it is. Because if I get a call from a seller, I'm going to take that first, and then
they should text you like they are sellers, right? That's the fastest way you'll get.
Yeah, the best way to get me to answer is say you have a vacant property to look at.
Got it. So that's
if anybody wants to sell to me, I would love to buy. I'm not going to buy it at high prices, obviously, because I'm usually direct to seller. But I will absolutely. I've bought from wholesalers and on several deals. I wish I could find more deals from wholesalers.
Got it. And if you want to learn how to find those deals, and if you want to get into real estate, so we have a coaching program. You have. Do you want to tell them just a few words about what we have? You can do it in Hebrew.
We're expanding the family, guys. We have our first group that we are running with. People are currently in the program, closing deals, getting contracts, which is amazing. It's amazing to see. It's amazing to see the developments of people which are new to the field, even not new, even people who are in the field who wants to take it to the next level and build a system. Okay, this is what it's all about. Focusing on actionable, on actions, building a system, a lead generating system that will constantly provide you with leads to come in and focus on talking to sellers, making offers, and doing contracts and basically, money making activities, full cycle. So we are expanding the family. We're opening now the second group or into our mentorship coaching session. So whoever is interested to hear more about it, reach out to us and we'll be more than happy working with you guys.
Maybe we'll invite Avi to give us a session on how to build campaigns. Huh, Avi? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'll do. I was just going to say, I need to join your thing. I want to learn what you guys are learning. All right. Yeah, it's very cool. Wholesale from Israel.com. Very cool.
Yeah. So whenever you are, again, I don't know if you plan any trip to see your brothers in Israel. Whenever you are in the Holy Land, come say hi. We would love to meet you and show you around. I know you know everything, but it's home, So
yeah, I would love to. My goodness.
Always welcome here. Always in this group. Always, obviously, in this country. So we hope that you stay active in the group. We're, again, very honored that you are part of the group and you're contributing your knowledge and experience. We don't take it for granted. And thank you for being here. It's been a great session. Hope people took a lot of Avi's tips and going to implement it. And hopefully you're going to start to close deals from Israel. So Avi, thank you very much. It was great. And until next time, guys, we are signing off.
Keep strong.
Thank you guys very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.